Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're going to try and do some scraping today. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, well, now, wait a minute. I thought you said you didn't have a PTO tractor to run that scraper. And we don't. So what we did was we blocked the chains up on the old soil mover, and we're going to see if the 875 will pull it like a pan scraper. We tried this a little bit the other day, and a bunch of hoses in the back end of the scraper blew. So we just got finished replacing all of that. Brand new hoses, brand new fittings. Works pretty good. So we're going to come out here and try it again. And if the tractor doesn't have enough weight, and weight is the issue here, believe me, the 875 has enough pony power to pull whatever you put behind it. But if it doesn't have enough weight and it wants to spin out, we'll get the Kubota skid steer and we'll see if it will be able to push assist, and maybe we can load the scraper that way. Now, maybe we can't do this at all. Maybe we have to use it as an elevating scraper, but this north end here in the field needs so much work, and you can kind of tell where Dad's been out already with the skid steer patching stuff up. But it's just a lot. You know, the skid steer only moves, the bucket's rated for 2/3 of a yard, but I imagine you get it heaped, it's about a yard of dirt. And the scraper, well, the scraper will hold 13 yards. May not get it clear full. Oh, what's this? Oh my goodness, we found it. I can't believe it. That is part of the drag from the spring tooth. You know how long we've been looking for that, thinking we were going to run it over? I thought it was clear over there in another field. All right, well, we got that. Anyway, the scraper holds 13 yards. We may not be able to get 13 in it, but anything we get in that is more than what the skid steer can haul, so it's going to be a lot more efficient. We can spread more dirt out over a better area. It'll pack better. That's not too bad so far. See how full we can get it before it spins out. Oh, I don't think it likes that. Raising her up a little bit. It is a little soft on top because this was chiseled. We didn't plant it to anything, but because we knew we were going to be doing dirt work here at some point. But yeah, okay. Not half bad. Not bad. Something anyway. I don't know exactly where he's going to dump this. There's so many spots to choose from. We'll just try and stay out of the way. Tires on the scraper aren't squishing too bad. I don't really want to follow him around if he's going to drive in a circle. He's either dumping it on top or he's coming back for another bite. I think he's going to dump it on top. Ram's coming forward. There's a good low spot. All right. Well, may not be perfect, but it's something. Not bad for not being too full. He's gonna get a run at it. Still a clean scrape. Oh, she's spinning. Don't worry, one of these times he comes through, I'll get a good look at stuff. But for right now, this is okay. The only problem with what we're doing is, like I said, the 875 doesn't really have enough weight. Needs more weight, and that's a heavy tractor. That's one of Versatile's heavier tractors. I think that's about all she wrote. Not too bad. Getting better. Yeah, that's packing pretty good, actually. All things considered, not too bad. It packs better than the skid steer, and that's the advantage and disadvantage to a tracked machine, is that it gets more flotation and better traction, but it doesn't pack as good. You'd have to run a thinner layer of fill and run over it to pack it. Whereas with a wheel, because you can have more pressure on a smaller area, you can have a greater amount of fill and pack it just as good. Looks like he's going to try a slower approach this time. In theory, once he gets down to this hard stuff, he'll get better traction. Yeah, if the tractor would just get some traction, we'd be in shape. It'll find traction eventually if it goes deep enough, right? not too bad. He's probably about 2/3 full. Yeah, it's getting better. It's not really all that soft. So we're getting down to the good stuff. Plenty moist to get down far enough. Surface is a little dry, but that's normal. I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, but when he comes through here, this is slanted awful bad, and the scraper acts like it wants to tip over. I mean, I don't think it will. If it does, the hitch is designed to twist, so the worst we do is break some hydraulic lines. But I'm gonna stand like over here just in case it does. That was the low spot. Okay, we just had a team meeting. What we're gonna try next here, Dad's gonna leave the ram forward on the scraper, as you see, and then he's gonna try and drag it, and then as he fills it, run the ram back and just see what that does. I mean, maybe professional earth movers, guys that have done this for a long time, think what we're doing is stupid, but we don't know any better. We're just experimenting. So we're gonna see how this does. I don't think it's working as well as he wanted it to. It's working. Well, I guess you can't see over the top there. Not quite tall enough. But that's more distance than he got last time. I don't think running that ram is making as much difference as it should. But I don't know if you guys have noticed, he's been bringing the unloading ram forward up against the material so that when he gets ready to dump and he runs that forward, it just dumps out nice and smooth. Seems to be working. Oh, holy cow, it's Bermuda grass. Impressive. Most impressive. Now, if only that Bermuda grass would take the place of all this bindweed right here, well, then we'd be in business. What's this? Hydraulic oil. Well, you know what? That's to be expected. We didn't lose any lines, I know that, so we're good. Well, I guess there's not as much in there as I thought. Maybe he lost something and I wasn't paying attention. It's all right. know, really, this stuff's about the right consistency. Yeah. That's looking pretty good. Now, some of you who were looking really hard, if it showed up on camera, it might look like we lost a hose in there where those rams are at, but somebody just spilled a bunch of hydraulic fluid when they were replacing stuff. That's just kind of the way it worked. Gonna try a fresh spot. Wish this had a diff lock on it. I think we're definitely going to want a crawler when we get our PTO tractor because, well, we just are. Having those chains running would make this a lot easier. You could definitely fill it. But, you know, you got to work with what you have. Oh yeah, that pulled pretty smooth. Pretty smooth. I got an email from someone last night. They had watched the scraper walk around, and they said that on the front, if you took the cutting edges, if they were in sections, if you took the center cutting edge and ran it forward and left the two outside cutting edges back, what would he call that? I think he called it a stinger configuration. He said that makes a world of difference when you're scraping. But for right now, we don't know what we have actually because it's been so dirty in there. I suppose we could have cleaned it with a shovel, but yeah, why do that when you could just, you know, come out here and run it? Somebody needs to move and get in a good position so people can see things. Just can't get good cameramen anymore. Getting shiny under there. This looks pretty good. This looks really good actually. Smoother up a bit and yeah, not half bad. So the one side that was leaning hard downhill here packed pretty good. Well, I guess it wouldn't have been that side. It would have been like this one here on this pass. Did pretty good. Not bad. How solid is this? Pretty solid. This stuff is just the right consistency to pack. Usually it's dry. I guess he's tired of his return trips taking so long. But anyway, yeah, this has got just the right amount of moisture in it. We haven't had any rain for a couple, 3 weeks, but we were getting a lot of rain through September. So Soaked it up good. Well, I shut the camera off and was going to get in another position, but it looks like he did a full pull. I don't know how much he actually got in there, but that's something. Heck of an elevation change. Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, that actually looks pretty nice through there. Almost like a group of professionals did it. How about that? So it's a few days later than the previous clip that you just saw there, and a few things happened. Mainly the clip that you just saw right after that, I had gone to show some things and talk about some things, and then as I was about done with that segment, I turn around and somebody who was running the 875 had flipped the old soil mover over. I don't think the scraper's supposed to work sideways. It's not supposed to work sideways, boss man. No, it's not. Well, I guess apparently this thing here was full of water. I don't know if it's supposed to be. This scraper looks pretty nice in here. You know, you should have done this when we went to replace all these hoses back here. That would have made it a lot easier to get to. But we didn't blow any hoses. It doesn't look like we bent any fittings. Cylinder rams look okay. They're not bent. Pipe is still there. What's the underneath side look like? It looked shiny earlier.
Don't look bad. It's getting better. It's getting shined up.
Okay, so the real question is, are there 3 scraper sections on this or just one? It looks like there's just one. Well, there might be 2 small ones on the outside, but this looks continuous.
Yeah. Well, no. I think we're set right though.
Yeah. Well, I'm not about to take all that stuff off and reset it. What if they use a special bolt? But I guess that's why they designed the hitch like that, to turn. Scrape vertical hills. We called her quits for the day because it was kind of late. We took the tractor back down to the field, the 800, so we could pull this over the next day. And then, of course, the next day we went down and we chained onto it and we got her flipped back over. He's just gonna pull forward, and I'm gonna kind of steer until he gets down on flat. I think we're good. And then after we got it flipped over, we had to bring it up here so we could do some welding, because something that happened, this there's this pin here that runs, you know, and this had split open. It done it before on the previous owner, and he welded it. It looked more like he soldered it. He didn't get very good penetration. I mean, his weld's not the best. So it split open. I don't know if it did that when it flipped, or if just while Dad was running it. I don't remember it being cracked before we went out to the field with it. But like I said, the weld was not very good, so I'm not surprised that it did. So what we did, here yesterday, was we came down and Dad welded this up. We had a piece of 4-inch inside diameter pipe, because the outside of this pin housing is 4 inches, and we just cut a segment out of that, trimmed her up, goodness, and Dad welded it. Now, I know Dad's welds may not be very pretty to those of you that are professional welders, but I guarantee you that there is real penetration here, and that this is not going to, this will not come off. I guarantee it. Dad did not guarantee this one. Usually when he welds something, he says, oh, I guarantee you it's not going to break where I welded it. And, you know, he's welded quite a bit around here, and I honestly can't think of anything that broke where he welded it. Now, it'll break everywhere around where he welded it, maybe, but never where he actually welded it. But he did not guarantee this one. I don't think it's going to cause us any problems. This is a lot stronger than what was on there. So when I'm done with the video here, I'll grease this up again. And there's actually a grease fitting here and another one over there that I didn't think about. I need to hit them to grease this swivel, and I don't know that I can get to this fitting in there. And I think that's really about it. But anyway, that's kind of what we had to do. So the scraper's ready to go, but Dad had to go do some other stuff, and he's the one that's been running this, and he's the one that wants to run it. I have other things I need to screw with. So eventually we'll come back and do some more with this, but I got some good footage of it running. We'll go ahead and stop there, and then I'll also give you guys, while we're here, while I'm thinking about it, I'll give you a close-up of all the hoses that we put on and replaced. So everything they had back here was 3/4 hose, because my guess is that they were operating off of a well, it was my guess, and then I was talking to somebody through the email, and they said the same thing, that they set this up for a low flow but high volume system, which is why everything on here was 3/4 from the factory. But hydraulic systems have changed a little bit over the years, and now everything's 1/2 inch on tractors, so that's what we converted it over to. Now, some of you might say, oh, you're messing with the flow and everything. It's not going to be right because you narrowed it down to 1/2 inch. You needed to put it back as 3/4. Well, here's the thing. This was going to narrow down to 1/2 inch at some point, okay? It was either going to narrow down to 1/2 inch here or back at the tractor where it connects to the remotes. And the funny thing is about the tractor, even if it didn't narrow down to 1/2 inch at the remotes where it plugs in, guess what? Everything that comes off that hydraulic distributor that's inside that box, it's all 1/2 inch. It's all plumbed for 1/2 inch line. So it was going to get 1/2 inch at some point. I mean, I'm not about to go on here and say, oh, let's replace everything. Like, this one's okay. I'm not interested in replacing all this 3/4 pipe if we don't have to. But we figured it's going to be 1/2 inch at some point. We might as well make it 1/2 inch back here. And because it actually runs at a higher pressure at a lower volume now, it moves a little bit faster. So we'll find out here in a little bit if we're hurting anything with it. But let me tell you something. Replacing all these lines back here, that was not fun. This whole plate had to come off and come back, and it was a mess. But it's all done now. It looks nice and fancy, nice and purty, and yeah, it just works. That's right. We left the 800 down here in case we flip the scraper over again. That way, well, logistically, it just makes more sense to leave that down here. We don't need it anywhere else at the moment. So I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool. And, well, sort of. It's pretty cool. And while we're walking towards it, I'm going to tell you kind of why we're doing all this scraping out here. You know, all this earth moving, all these fixing terraces. Now, I mean, it seems pretty obvious on the surface. We're fixing the terraces so the field doesn't wash, right? Well, yeah, obviously. But why are the terraces in such a sorry state? I mean, they're pretty small for as big as this field is. There's a lot of them. And it just seems like there's a lot of damage and erosion going on here. So what happened? Well, there are several things that happened. The most immediate thing that happened is that this past season, we have gotten a lot of rain. A lot of rain. But before that, the bigger problem is that the terraces were never maintained. The way that this field is laid out, you have to farm it one direction to keep the shape of the terraces. If you farm over the top, you're just going to break the terraces down, they won't work. Well, the problem is because they were never maintained, they were never plowed up, they were never built up, the terrace channels were never cleaned, combined with the fact that my grandpa disked for decades, almost exclusively. I mean, he never plowed, he never chiseled, and so what he created was a hard pan. And the problem with the hard pan is that, no, it's not going to absorb water because it's too hard. The water can't go through it fast enough when it rains. And so once the topsoil is soaked, it just washes off. There is that problem. There's also the problem of it won't hold any plant roots. They can't go through that hard pan. It's too tough. And then the bigger problem is you actually don't, when you disc all the time, you actually don't make, I mean, especially the way he was disking, you don't make hardly any topsoil that water can absorb into. So over time, you do that, you make a hard pan, you weaken your topsoil structurally, you can't raise your water table if the water can't get down into the ground, and all that stuff moved real easy. It washed real easy, terraces break down, water breaks through them, then it creates a low point, all the water goes to there. Before you know it, it starts washing everything out, creates ruts and channels, and then over time, depending on how much rain you get, it creates gigantic brand new canyons. Everyone loves brand new canyons, right? We're going to get a little closer here. This right here is the result of what happens when you don't take care of your field. When you don't keep your terraces up, when you get a lot of rain, when your topsoil is shallow and it lacks any kind of binder, there's no plant matter in it, there's no roots, there's no nothing, it's just shallow level of basically powder, and you get a whole bunch of rain and that stuff starts moving, all of a sudden you end up with this, and it doesn't take very long. Now, part of this has been here for as long as I can remember, but I know in the past year or so, it has come this way a considerable amount. Dad says 70 feet. I don't think it's come that far this direction. But it's definitely come further south here over the past couple of years, just because we've had so much rain. Long story short, and skipping a lot of details, when Dad and I started taking over doing all the farming, one of the first things my dad tried to do was find a plow to build the terraces up even a little bit, just to stop it from washing. And here on the north end of the field pasture, as we call it, this is the worst area, but there are others. There's more areas over there, and there's all sorts of washouts in the Bermuda bottom too. But this one right here is very representative of why you need to take care of your terraces, why you need to come in and chisel, and break up your hard pan and let that water go through, and just do more if you are going to till. And I understand a lot of people don't like tillage, they want to do no-till, and if you can get away with it, that's great. In this part of the world, you can't do that, especially if you're running cows on it. They just pack the soil too hard. You can't no-till here. It doesn't work that way, okay? If you want to no-till, that's great, but we can't really do that here. So what we have been trying to do is we've been trying to reduce the amount of tillage necessary, and we've also been trying to, when we do have to till better. So chisel, plow occasionally, not regularly, just occasionally, Chiseling, though, is the big thing to really get down there and break up that hard stuff. The disc, the reason we've been using the disc so much over the years is because things happen when you only have one tractor and it rains a whole bunch and then stuff breaks and you need to get out in the field and you can't, and you get all this rain. Well, then all these weeds come up. Well, you got to go in there and disc it to chop up all the weeds and break that stuff down and open the ground up, because it gets dry on top, it gets hard. Chisel won't go in. So you have to go in and disc. Well, like I said, you disc too much, especially when you only disc in the same direction for decades at a time. Well, it makes a hard pan, and you can't get out of it. You have to go a different direction. But even so, with the disc, you're limited. At best, you're going to go in maybe 6 inches with a brand new disc, unless you go get like one of those green lines. They're pretty serious. But so you get the same problem with a one-way. Somebody told me that and said, oh, my uncle used to use one-way all the time. Problem was, it'd make a hard pan after you used it for too long. But yeah, these are things that we've been thinking about trying to avoid. So we've been trying to fix up the ground. We've been trying to build the terraces back. That's why we've been looking for a scraper. A lot of this was done with a skid steer, you know, just to patch it up, just something to slow this down so that this stops getting worse. We'll go down here in a minute and take a look. But there's more of these gigantic washout pits. And the thing is, because the neighbor's ground is right over there, there's a fence. And the problem is, because this has gone on for so long, so much dirt. I don't know how many cubic yards of dirt have left the top of this field over the years, but it's a lot. Because, let me think here. So in this bottom over here, where the fence goes through, well, over in that direction, that has silted in so much over the years that I think there are actually 3 fences. There's 2 fences buried, and then a 3rd fence on top. It would silt in, they just build a fence over the silt instead of digging it out. No one had the equipment to do it. Nobody wanted to stand the expense of doing it. Now, technically, it was my grandfather's responsibility to do that because it was his field that washed. So, technically, I don't know legally, but technically, he should have been the one going down there and cleaning that sediment out off of us and the neighbor in these canyon bottoms and taking it back up on top of the field. But he never did that. Dad and I will, though, at some point. We get far enough ahead, that's definitely what we're going to do, because we want all that dirt back. But, yeah, it's silted in so much in this bottom over here on the north end of the property that there's 2 fences buried. And then we put in, it got so bad that a couple years ago we went and put in a stretch of new fence to keep the cattle from just stepping over it. And we come back this year to patch it up because they wallered through it, and it had silted in up to the bottom wire that we put in 2 years ago. So here's another one, not quite as spectacular as the one I just showed you, but still, there's lots of these around here, lots of them. Some of the most impressive ones are on the north end, but the prettiest ones are over in the Bermuda bottom that way down south. I'll do a separate video one of these days. We'll take a tour through the old Bermuda bottom. I'll wait until the leaves start to turn on the cottonwood trees. It looks really pretty when you do that then. But yeah, pretty impressive. And okay, here we go. Good example. You see this right here? You see the way that this is cutting like this? Now, you have these directions here, okay? But you've also got some lines that go that way, and you can sort of see them. That's your hard pan, because, well, the only way you can farm this is to come through here like so, and then turn, or then turn around and then come back and do it that way. And that's what you end up with. And this stuff is just like shale. It's just hard. Okay? I mean, yeah, it'll break up if you get it just right. But it's not like, well, I guess that's hard too. This stuff up here is a little more loose. But there's no topsoil here. It's all hard pan. And that's what you get when you only farm in one direction with an implement that just can't go that deep. You literally have all that triticale to eat, and you came down here to eat bindweed. I don't understand you. We planted all that stuff up there for you to eat, and you want to come eat this. Cows. What do you expect? Yeah, there's nothing. It's all like bindweed and fireweed and foxtail and, oh, this might be rye. Maybe. I think it's rye. I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but there's a little root. That thing's in there probably 3 or 4 inches. It's one of the nice things about rye. Yeah, this is volunteer rye down here, I think. It's not wheat. We do not plant wheat. Wheat sucks. We'll come down here. Yeah, the way to get to this is just really fun. But it's worth showing because it's really cool. So the funny thing is about this whole piece of farm ground, okay, it used to be bigger. And there's a fence, okay, well, as an example, right here, conveniently. You see that wood post over there? That used to be where the fence was for the farm ground. And this right here, I don't know if you can tell, this used to be a terrace that went over that way. And so as the field started to wash out, what my grandpa did, instead of fixing stuff, filling it back in, gotta be careful here, it is quite a severe drop, what he did was he just farmed around it. And so the field actually has just been shrinking over the years because he would just farm around it. And some of you might say, oh my gosh, it sounds like you're throwing your granddad under the bus. And I kind of am. But it is honestly and objectively his fault that this is the way it is. I gotta remember, I don't really want to go along the fence that way. This is so bad through here. We've got to come down here and fix it. I also don't remember, I haven't been down through here in a while. I think we can go this way without too much issue. Okay, yeah, here's another example. So, while we're here, so all this here is just fine. This is sand. There's no sand in this part of the county except what washes off the field, okay? There's the neighbor, okay? All that stuff's silted in. You can see, I don't know, well, maybe you can. Right there, somewhere in, yeah, like right there, there's that post. Yeah, this is the second fence, I believe, that's been built in this spot because this is silted in so much. You can see it. And we're desperately trying to stop it from washing more so that we can get it fixed. Now, which way? It's further over. This is a jungle through here. We need to get some better equipment and come in here and clean all this out. We're working on it. And you know, there's some pretty trees in here. There really are. Like this big old cottonwood, right? I mean, yeah, you got a lot of locusts, but there's some pretty trees down in here. It's pretty. You know, it's kind of neat, but it just shows you how much this has washed over the years. Really, this is the best time to do this because it's not too hot outside. I think I went into the wrong washout. Pretty sure I went in the wrong washout. Check that out, though. All kinds of stuff. These cottonwoods, they're pretty tall. You know, they're fairly old. They're not some of the older cottonwoods around here. We have cottonwoods here that I think are probably several hundred years old. Okay, we're not going to go that way. I went into the wrong washout. That's okay. We'll go around to the big and important one. So the plan is, when we finally get all the equipment put together, and I know this might upset some of you, but we're going to come through here, this bottom. All these trees are going to come out. They're going to have to. We don't have a choice. We need this topsoil back, and we need to form this here where it's not a sheer drop off. It needs to be a gentle slope into a gentle bottom. I mean, we may try and leave something like that giant cottonwood right there, but most of these trees are coming out. This hackberry is going to come out. Locust. How did I get turned around in here? We'll go this way. So this video is going to be extra long because I'm showing you guys all this, but again, it is pretty neat. Unless you have to come down here in the middle of summer, there's no wind, and you have to fix the fence. And, well, the fence is still up in that spot. Here's an old cottonwood. It's been dead for a long time. Oh, that fell to... Oh, it fell over more. Oh, well, that's nice. Oh, and the wire's gone there. Okay, well, the cows won't notice that, will they? Oh, shoot. I guess we'll have to come through here the hard way. Oh my gosh. This is not the type of walk that you want to do when you are 6'3". And plenty of cedar down here. So then, okay, see, we have a cottonwood like this, but it's dead. For the most part, it's pretty well dead. It happens. Cedars have taken off this year. Plenty of water for them, that's for sure. I think this might be the one we want to go look at. One of them, anyway. Spiders. Spiders everywhere. Ugh. I don't think I've actually been through this little draw before. Nope. But scenic. More silt, more sediment, more wash. Huzzah. We're getting around to the good stuff, don't worry. I think. Hang on. It's this way. I haven't been down through here in a few years. Can we go this way? I think this is the way we want to go, yeah. Do I really want to go through all these cedars? No, but it'll make for a good video. There we go. Yeah, I've actually got one day I came down here, the sun was just right, and I got a few pictures of some of the trees down here. They look really good. It was sort of cloudy outside, and the light broke through at just the right spot. Yeah. So we could go that way, but I don't really want to. So this is, I think, the extra large wash. There's another one, I believe, over here. You see the way the grass is, it's from all that water pushing it over. This seems like it's washed so bad it can't be repaired, but we get big enough equipment, we may have to have another scraper. We're gonna have to have some big bulldozers, but I guarantee you, we can come through here and clean all this up, and it'll look a lot different. Here's a cool spot. So I mentioned red rock earlier. That's what this is. This is red rock. Real hard, real flaky, shale-like sediment, and there's a lot of it around here. So you have plenty of topsoil to work with, but then you get down to red rock, and there's a lot of spots around in this area where there's red rock. So this is a cool area, but yeah, it's nice and solid. As much water has come through here, it hasn't washed much more. It's already taken all the loose stuff off. This is harder to erode. Not impossible, it's just harder to erode. I did get turned around. I don't think I meant to come this way. This is the exit, isn't it? Yeah, that's the exit. We want to go back through over here. I don't really want to go that way either, but whatever. Worth it. It's not going to hurt me to bend over a little bit. Huh. Bugs have been busy. Don't know what kind of bugs. Here we go. This is probably, how deep is this? 20 foot? 20 foot's fair, I think. If you stacked 3 of me on top of each other, that'd about be the top. Like I said, I'm 6'3", so yeah, water, incredibly destructive. Water does not fool around at all. As you can tell, some of this stuff has just washed off in giant clumps, and the grass just landed perfectly. But yeah, it's pretty eerie how destructive water can be. Now, here's something interesting. Here's something interesting right here. Take my glasses off. Okay, these are roots, okay? These are roots from bindweed. And this is why bindweed is so hard to get rid of, because they will go several feet into the ground, in feet. It's incredibly hard. It's actually, I think it's impossible to get rid of bindweed. And if you do manage to get rid of it, guess what? The deer will come along and they'll crap on your field, and then you'll have more bindweed. There's no getting rid of it. And this is why, because the roots just go so far down. They will always pull nutrients. They will always pull water, no matter what. Unless, of course, there's a hard pan. But once they start to weasel through the hard pan, they probably do all right, honestly. Look at this stuff just coming off. It kind of looks like a glacier calving, in a way. You don't want to get too close to the edge on one of these washouts, because it will come and cut back like water does. Yeah. And then it's just eerily quiet down here. You can see how hard the wind's blowing up there. I mean, it's not like a gale, but it's quiet enough that I can use my indoor voice almost. Pretty neat stuff. I was going to shut the camera off, but might as well show you guys the return trip. Might see something else scenic here. Now, if you want, I don't care if you pause the video and take a screenshot and set it as the background on your computer or your phone, because this stuff is pretty scenic. And I'm not a photographer or anything, but I've been taking pictures of pretty scenic little spots around the property here for a few years, and I've gotten some real good ones. I've even got a few of some sunrises and stuff. It's pretty neat. That might sound kind of tacky, but now, we've had so much rain this year that that's Johnson grass. The Indian grass here is green. Still green. Usually, because this is mid-October, and usually by this time of year, the Indian grass is brown, like that, and it's starting to die off. But we've had so much rain that it's still green, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Now, the cows won't eat it because it's kind of big and tough, and I guess they'd rather eat bindweed than anything else. Usually they don't touch that stuff. I really don't understand them. But yeah, the Indian grass is still green. And of course the Johnson grass is still green, but Johnson grass never dies. Sand plums. Yeah, I don't like sand plums. They're not very sweet. The plant is a pain to deal with, because they're just the right combination of woody and also springy. Now we can come out of the canyon by going this way, if I remember right. Make sure there's no pitfalls in here or anything. Yeah, I can come out. I think this has got enough of a slope on it I can crawl out of it. Yep. And there we are, right back where we started, almost. So, yeah, like I said, get over here. There's some good trees in here, some cottonwoods. Most of it's just locust and hackberry. There are a dime a dozen. Cedar, goodness. Can't swing a dead cat without getting a cedar tree around here. But that's just the way it is. Right there is yet another example of erosion. And that's actually a pretty impressive wash through there, but there's a lot of grass on the sides of it, so it's hard to tell the exact scale of it. One of these days, like I said earlier, I'll go around and I'll do a proper video of all the spots where it's washed around here real bad. Well, there's kind of another one right here, but no, technically this spot used to be farmed, but I think it was abandoned long ago. This used to be wide enough here you could just squeeze a pickup across, and now squeezing the skid steer across is kind of a shake hands with danger situation. It's narrowing up pretty bad right here, but cows don't care. They'll walk right alongside that. That's pretty deep down in there. You probably can't tell because the camera's not adjusting, but yeah, it's pretty deep in there. And then, you know, down into that super canyon. But anyway, that's just kind of the result of what happens when you don't take care of your terraces. That's why we've been wanting a scraper, and we've been trying to fix the terraces up. We still have a few more pieces of earth moving equipment we could add to our repertoire to make us a little bit more efficient. You know, a grader for shaping wouldn't be too bad. A 6-way dozer would be nice too. A straight push dozer would be handy, you know, for a lot of earth moving, tree clearing. We have a skid steer. We'll get a saw for it and stuff eventually so we can take trees out and pile stuff up, you know. But for right now, we got a scraper and we have a skid steer. And you know what? That's a lot better than we had a year ago. So we're making progress. We're getting a lot done. We can only get about a half a box full in the scraper here before the tractor just starts to spin out and throw a fit. But hey, half a load in this is still better than one bucket at a time with that Kubota. And the way that this works, the way that this spreads material, it's actually better for what we're doing on terraces, just building them up and stuff. So yeah, it's working good. Be a lot better when we get a PTO tractor to run those chains, but for right now, the 875 will do the work. So with all that being said, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys stuck around to the end. I hope you found all the washouts impressive, and I hope you can appreciate all the work that this poor soil mover has to do. It's going to be doing a lot. This thing it's going to work. By the time we get done with this old soil mover, everything in here will be nice and shiny. Be able to eat off of it. It'll be so shiny and clean and smooth. It'll look real pretty, and I'll try and get a picture of it when we get it all shined up. But we got a ways to go. A lot of dirt to move still. So yeah, again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I'll be out with some more videos here after a while. Still have some other stuff to do. We got to get ready for milo harvest yet, and it's already the middle of October, so I'm gonna get plugging away on that, and we'll catch you guys later. Take care.